Hey guys, how's everything going today? Chris De La Garza here, Capital Title, Texas. Really excited about introducing you guys to this gentleman here to my right. We're going to be doing a segment specifically on introducing to you successful real estate agents in the San Antonio real estate market and where they started from and how they got there. Today, I'm going to be introducing you guys Chris Beal from eXp Realty. I've known him for quite some time, and with that being said, he's a very modest guy, and it's very unassuming in the fact that when you meet him, it's like, yeah, you know, he's been doing it for 4 years. Guys, this guy's an icon agent, and he did this in literally a tenth of the time. Normally takes agents, you know, anywhere from 10 years to get to this point. This guy did it in what, I think under 2 years?
Icon? My first year.
First year, I'm sorry, I apologize. So like I said,
I'm working on my fourth one. So
tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got started in real estate.
basically just figured I could sell houses. I've been in sales my whole life. Did my last career for 16 years. I was in the automotive industry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did fairly well in that, quite frankly. I just want something, a little bit of change, a lot of hours. My 10-year-old was telling me I'm never around. So
ooh, that hurts, yeah.
I want a little bit of say-so on my schedule.
There you go.
To be successful, really don't get to have all the say-so on your schedule like everybody thinks you do. You're on other people's schedule. But at least you do have some flexibility in this business, and I appreciate that.
When would you say was your first taste of success in real estate when you're going back to when you first started?
Probably 3 weeks into real estate. And I was like, okay, kind of lucked into one, to be honest, like a lot of us. And then there were a lot of questions for that first 4 or 5 months. There were.
All right, so you're not the only one that rode the roller coaster in the beginning.
No. I mean, first 4 or 5 months, I think I sold 4 deals, 5 deals. Not enough to pay the bills, though, quite frankly.
All right, so you kept the lights on. That's good.
Well, no, not enough to pay the bills. I was living out of savings still. Probably about 6, 7 months in, it started to pick up. It started building a little bit of the trust and stuff from my people I knew. Soon I was actually able to do it.
Right.
Started coming around and trusting me. And then just took care of them and went from there.
So would you say that was kind of your turning point, or what was the big turning point when you're like, okay, this is hard, but this is what I really want to do, and this is all I want to do?
I really didn't want to go back to the last career. So that was a big driving factor.
That's fair.
I said I was going to do it, and I wanted to do it.
You didn't want to sleep at the dealership anymore?
No, I was good with it. Honestly, I had probably about, like I said, 6, 7 months. People were starting to come to me. We were in the height of the craziness of COVID. It's kind of kicking off.
Right.
And that was a blessing for the real estate market. It was,
right,
as an agent. And then I started seeing the success come with it. Started reinvesting back in my business.
Nice.
Growing from there.
What would you say is a really good example of how you can differentiate yourself from the other, we'll say 15,000 other realtors out there? Because that's always a question that I get over and over again is, how you can differentiate yourself in going above and beyond and creating yourself a variation from other realtors.
So for me, and I have a couple of junior agents now, and I guess the advice I give them, what makes us different is I'm big on karma. I try and put that into them to doing the right thing. A lot of agents, they get into real estate and they think they're gonna have this amazing schedule. You have to understand that you are on somebody else's schedule. If you're there to help them, their schedule should come first when they can go.
So what you're saying is you have like 200 bosses now versus one.
Yes. And my boss rotates a lot. You may be my boss for the next 45 days.
Right.
And then we're friends, but I have a different boss at that point, hopefully, or 3 or 4 bosses.
Okay.
But a big thing on that's also just doing the right thing by your clients, not thinking about the money. Some people get messed up in the head and this doesn't make sense, it's not gonna be as much money. I tell them all, if you do the right thing, the money will happen. It naturally will because you're doing the right thing and it gets out.
So you're saying you don't have commission breath?
No.
Yeah, that's terminology I've heard for quite some time myself, being in the industry over 20 years, and it seems like that can be such a detriment to your mindset as a realtor is trying to focus not on the money when you really need the money, and that's the hardest part.
It is. I mean, those first several months, luckily I had saved up some money to go down this path, but it got real thin. It got real close before it took off. I mean, it was within a couple of weeks of having to make it a hard decision possibly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Didn't quite have the commission breath, but I could feel it coming.
Yeah.
Luckily it didn't go down that path, so.
What would you say is the common denominator for you? Again, and I'm gonna preface this, Chris, Chris did close to over 20 million last year when the market had turned, over halfway through the year, and still did this as pretty much a solo agent. So what would you say you would attribute to most of your success with still being able to push through in a slowing market? Is there any common denominator you can look back and say, well, it's because I did this, this, and this, or was it a certain lead source, or like what was the variable in your opinion?
So we do have paid marketing, Zillow, other sources, which you hear different mixed reviews on Zillow and the conversion ratios and all the different things. But then you go on to Zillow, quite frankly, and you look for a zip code to buy, and they're all sold out. And then when you look at some of the top agents, they are in there, whether it be Realtor.com or Zillow or Google Ads. They are spending money in marketing their business. You are running a business. Now, if you can't convert, then maybe you should market in a different source that is more of what your skill set is, what your strengths are, right? And then really loving the people that already love you. So there's people out there, there's people who care about you. When you first start out, I know a lot of people give you advice that you need to go after your sphere of influence. You need to go after the people you know, and I get it. I get why they say it. For me, honestly, it was easier to go after people I didn't know, because everybody I knew it was my first deal. And they didn't want me to be entrusted with $500,000 of their money, all their money, $200,000, whatever it is, it's their biggest investment. As much as they love me, they didn't want to be the guinea pig. Somebody who didn't know me, luckily, they took the chance. They didn't know it was their first deal.
And I bet you there's probably thousands of realtors out there that can definitely assimilate with that, because of the fact that that's a big issue for most agents, because of the fact they are fearful of talking to their friends and family, because those are the people that judge us the hardest.
Well, it is. And like I said, when my business really took off is when the 6 months or so, I'd done 4, 5, 6 deals, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden the people I did know who already loved and trusted me, wanted me to do their business, knew I was good at negotiation from 16 years in auto finance and all that. Once they figured out I knew how to do it, they're like, well, naturally, now I'm going to use you. Because
now they want to get on the bandwagon.
Well, you're not, I know you know how to do it now.
This is a Cowboys city, so, you're jumping on the bandwagon.
But it really came around once they realized I knew what I was doing. I was good at it.
So with all that encompassing that, would you say you have a specific brand or a niche that you like to kind of set yourself apart with? Do you have a famous logo or a slogan or anything that you say?
I mean, we do have on our marketing, where you matter, because we believe that our clients truly matter. Their schedule, what's important for them, make the right call for your clients. So it's truly about them more than anything. All the rest of the stuff is just details that'll work itself out. If it's timing or this or that, what's right for them, I'll figure the other side out.
So now that things have kind of evolved now and you've got a lot of success under your belt, do you find yourself working your SOI differently now than you did, let's say, 2 years ago?
I do. I recently went through my database, and we all hear about the large databases and the numbers of conversion ratios and all that. But I took my database down from, I think it was like 3,200 people I had in there.
Okay, that's a big number.
And I narrowed it down to 500.
Wow.
I took it down to the 500 VIPs, call it core sphere, whatever you want to call it, and realized that if I market to this core 500, who you say, hey, this is Chris Beal, and they're like, oh yeah, and just instantly recognition.
They're top of mind in those 500.
Top of mind for them. That marketing to them was a better use of the time than marketing to the world.
So you got more hyper focused on your SOI.
Yeah, you realize how many people are in your database that you got the lead somewhere, you got the name somewhere, but you don't know them, they don't know you.
Obviously, this is just so insightful, and I want to share. What does a typical day for you look like?
Man, the schedule fills up fast. Every day is a little bit different. Today, for instance, though, I started out a couple phone calls, kind of nurture some other clients and stuff. Then I went to a client's house and picked up a seller's disclosure for a listing that we're doing a photo shoot on tomorrow. Getting it ready to go live. Had another listing appointment after that for a client who decided he wanted to sell his house after we found one yesterday he wants to buy. So at some point after this, I'm gonna have to write home and write that offer up. Sorry, Anthony. So 2 listing appointments basically. One to write up. Today's a good day.
So with that being said, I know another popular question I get a lot is the balance of personal and business. Do you have trouble with that balance now that you control it, or do you say that it's easier now that you don't have the corporate boss breathing down your neck?
Yes, there is some more balance. In the automotive industry, I miss a lot of things. My family, I did. Whether it be holidays or school plays, and I can make a lot more of that. But I've always been a little bit of a workaholic. Yes,
you have.
If I get bored, I just might as well work. What else I got to do, right? And maybe ADD issues, so I can work and do other things at the same time. So I've always worked a lot. My wife's used to it, and she wouldn't know how to handle me if I wasn't working. She's like, go do something probably.
So it helps your marriage by working.
I'm sure it does.
I'm sure a lot of husbands out there can probably relate.
But yeah, no, that's today. Tomorrow's, God, what's tomorrow? Listing photo shoot at 11. Hopefully hear back from the offer that hopefully we'll win today.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. What does it look like when Chris Beal writes an offer? Kind of walk me through the steps. What do you do specifically? Well,
I look at a lot of things. You have to look at the offer as a whole. Naturally, how long's the house been on market? Have they made any price adjustments? Run a CMA, of course, get the value of the house, your opinion of value. I compare tax records. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you learn with time.
Sure.
You have to develop your own system. Probably one of the nuggets that I tell most people that I think get mistakes made is they go to write an offer and they just write it up and they send it. Well, I have a listing that went live today.
Yeah.
I've gotten 3 offers on it already, not 1 phone call.
Wow.
Now, when I do an offer like the one I'm going to be writing, I've already talked to the agent twice on the phone. Okay. Once yesterday, and I teed up a couple things, thinking my client would want to pull the trigger.
Right.
And he calls me today and does it, and I naturally call again and let her know we are sending an offer.
Okay.
Reiterated all the stuff she told me was important to her client, because if I can let them have all the victories they want that we don't care about,
right,
great. You can win the things I don't care about, right? Let me win mine, the ones I do.
Right.
So I found out what her client was looking for to make sure, I don't want to say tee my client up, but maybe to guide my client that these are victories that might be beneficial to let them have.
Sure.
And pick the battles that you want to win.
Right.
As opposed to just sending an offer, like I found out that they want a lease back.
Okay.
Well, my client's totally cool with that.
That's pretty
Had I sent an offer, I wouldn't have just given a free lease back.
Sure.
But now I can give them a free lease back, give them a huge victory that's important to them right away.
That way you can win something else for your client.
But you only know that if you call and you ask the other client what's important. It's not always the money.
Yeah.
A lot of times it is, but it's not always the money.
Right, right. Oh man, I love that. Because that's a really big variable that I can honestly hear from other agents in the industry is that, one of the hardest things to make things move smoothly is working with other agents, and communication is key, because if you're always making assumptions, for all you know, you sent in an offer and you're waiting to hear back and you don't even know if that offer's even been received.
A lot of the agents you're going to work with, you'd be surprised how often you see the same names over and over and over again. It's 10% of the agents do 80% of the business, or some rule like that.
Right.
When I first heard it, I was like, okay. And after almost 4 years in the business, I'm like, man, pretty darn true. I see a lot of the same names over.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I've maintained good relationships.
I imagine you probably prefer that at that point.
Well, it does help sometimes. If there's multiple offers or this or that, yes, they're going to go to their client. Yes, they're going to present the best offer, and their client should be making the decision. That's the way it works. Mm-hmm. But if you don't think that other agents are out there and your offer is identical to another one, that the other agent might not know that you're going to get your client to the end smoother and kind of maybe present it that way. It's a fact.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty insightful. I've talked to a lot of agents over the years, and I can say I have seen a common denominator with, they're all probably pretty good with communications, but they hadn't quite put it that way, in the fact that it's definitely a priority in their processes and procedures.
I definitely look forward to calling an agent, somebody I've already worked with before, because I can't think of very many ever bad experiences with another agent.
Nice.
So normally it goes pretty well.
Chris, tell me a little bit about your personal life. Obviously, we've been hammering you on all of these mechanicals and stuff like that, but where are you from?
So I went to 7 different high schools.
Were you a troublemaker, Chris?
No, I never got kicked out of any. Parents were divorced. My mom worked for GTE.
Okay.
So every time they'd shut a call center, open a call center, she'd move like operator.
Gotcha.
But most of my family was in Texarkana, East Texas.
Okay.
I just got out of the military here back in the day.
Wow.
If you've ever been through Texarkana, you understand why I just stayed here instead.
So you were a military guy?
Yeah, ex-Army.
All right, thank you for your service. How long did you serve for?
I did just over 5 years.
So you went from military to selling cars to real estate?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
that's pretty cool, man.
I was a supply guy in the Army, so I was making deals then. I've been making deals my entire life.
You were still a salesman.
Yeah, I'm like, everybody wants something. How do we get everybody somewhat happy?
Obviously you work hard, you play hard. What kind of hobbies you got?
Got a couple of acquired lately. I've been riding motorcycles for a long time.
Okay.
Recently got a new Ducati.
Nice.
So me and some friends do a race once a year. This year we're going from Laredo to Zihuatanejo. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. From Shawshank, the beach town. We're going to spend 10 days riding through Mexico. So that's going to be cool. It's my once-a-year little adventure. Other than that, I got into bourbon. A friend turned me on to it. I realized there's a big variety, so I started collecting bourbon and getting a different bourbon group.
We got to hang out some more.
Yeah, definitely. But and that's been good. I say as an agent, if you find something that you truly enjoy, it does shine through. All right. If there's something you like, something that you're truly passionate about, other people can tell. You're not faking it.
For sure.
And I got into bourbon just out of enjoyment, the flavor, the history behind it, some of the great friends I met. And it's honestly done my business well. I probably sold, $4 or $5 million in real estate to just people I met through bourbon last year.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
We're setting up an event next month, actually, you should come to. It's going to be May 21st at the Gents Place.
Okay.
We're going to have the first bourbon in San Antonio event. It's a bottle share. So come there, bring a bottle of bourbon that you're willing to share because we're opening everything there. But we're going to give away, a Pappy. We're going to give away an Old Forester birthday bourbon. The Gents Place is sponsoring it. I'm sponsoring it. And just kind of bringing that community together.
Like it.
But people know I'm real about it, and they trust me to, hey, I heard you're in real estate, and start conversations.
Right.
That's what we're about, starting conversations.
That's really creative, man. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so you like motorcycles, you like drinking, but not together.
Not together.
The world has been crazy for real estate, and talking about real estate, where the market's going, where the market came from, everything from the COVID market, a couple years ago, to the softening of what the Fed is doing in the market. What are your thoughts on where do you think we're headed? I know that's an open-ended, tough question, but from a professional agent, I'd love to hear your 2 cents on that.
So I get asked that question a lot, as we all do now.
Yeah.
And I always say, God, if I was psychic, I'd just win the lottery and not have to work. Right? So
Absolutely.
Let me preface that with, we're all guessing. I don't care how many degrees they have, they're guessing, dude. All right? Nobody saw COVID coming. Nobody saw the things that we went through. We were all pretty surprised by that one. The government's doing their thing, right? They're raising the rates. They're trying to slow down the economy. It's working, right? Home sales have slowed down. Car sales have slowed down. Everything's slowed down. It's going to take a while for the pricing to really reflect. So I think pricing is going to maintain fairly well. Would it increase 3% so this year so far, or year over year, something like that? It wasn't much. It was like a 3% raise, I think I saw the other day. But I think it'll kind of level out. I don't necessarily see it going down anytime soon. If not, a couple percentage points, not enough to be that noticeable. I think rates will probably level out. I think by the end of the year, hopefully we'll be mid 5s. By this time next year, hopefully we'll be back in the mid 4s, which is probably sustainable for a while,
So you don't see a crash coming?
I think we're all praying that doesn't happen.
Right.
We're biased. We're biased on this end, right?
Yes.
So it's not in my possibilities.
Gotcha.
Remember, positive mindset.
Obviously, you're on pace to just absolutely knock it out of the park this year. Is there anything that you would give advice for all of the agents that kind of started like where you were, a couple of years ago? What advice would you give to that brand new agent that is contemplating, should I leave my career I've been in the last 10, 15 years to go be my own boss? What advice would you give that person today?
If you don't do it today, when are you going to do it? That was me. Honestly, guys, I spent 2.5 years in my last career thinking about, wanting to do something different. And when I quit, I didn't have a game plan.
Oh.
Real estate really wasn't it. I kind of thought about it, but I just realized, as I was getting older, if I wanted to change in life, I just had to go for it. And sometimes you have to force yourself into the uncomfortable zone. So basically, I quit without a game plan. Came home, put my 2 weeks in, did it right. Do the right thing, people. You might have to go back. All right, do my 2 weeks. Came home. Life's like, what are you gonna do?
Ride a motorcycle for a living.
Well, funny story. I come home and told her I wanted to go on a bucket list trip.
Okay.
And she's like, go. I can't believe she said it. I took off the very next morning, did 3,800 miles solo for 8 days.
Oh my goodness.
To the Grand Canyon, to Tombstone, to Vegas. I just rode through the desert for 8 days, came back, and I was like, the whole time I was listening to Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate. I was on my motorcycle, I was listening to it. And I came up with bet you I can sell houses, and came back and went to real estate school.
So it sounds like you had an epiphany.
Well, I forced myself into doing something. I'm like, dude, you got to go do it. And if I'd stayed in my comfort zone, I thought about it for years and didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I realized I just had to force the issue.
So what I'm hearing over and over again is mindset.
Yeah.
Over and over, it's like you decided you want to do something, and you're like, I'm just going to do it, and I just got to find a way to do it.
Yeah, I was willing to take it all the way to the end.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate you coming out today, sharing all your insights, sharing your journey in real estate. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So you can find me Go Beal Group, Gobeal Group. That's the same on Facebook, Instagram. It's my website. If you need me for anything, Google Go Beal Group. The phone number is everywhere. Like any good real estate agent, it's not hard to find my cell phone number, right? My YouTube channel.
But I bet you return phone calls.
All new agents, number one priority is answer your phone. Even if it says spam, just answer it. You can always hang up. You'd be surprised how many times I got a spam call that was a referral from another agent or something.
Guys, if that's the one thing you take away today, be that the one. Answer your phone.
Or call back. Call back immediately.
There you go. There you go. Well, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Can't wait to see you guys on the next one.